All right, so one other thing that hits me about last night, right? And you brought this up before. You brought it up a few weeks ago. Last night was the perfect example. They need to extend overtime. 10 minutes is, I know we're all up late, but it's really not fair to the team that gets it second. There we got Dallas goes on a 6-minute drive, and there we got Green Bay going, wait, we'd like to win the game, but we're out of time because we only had the ball with 4 minutes left.
That's why this idea of you automatically defer, you don't have enough time.
There's definitely an aspect of that. That's why I brought it up. I was thinking about you when it was going on. I was going, they deferred. Yeah, now you can go for it on fourth down because you know what you need.
And they did, and they did one time, and they needed it.
But at the same time, you're sitting there going, you're not going to have enough time where you would in the normal game to go down there and have a few more shots in the end zone, and they weren't afforded that because of the 10-minute overtime rules, and that worked against them a little bit there at the end.
What they should consider is something that, and I don't want to make it too complicated. You know, last year the kickoff stuff was way too complicated. Yeah. But you almost want to guarantee a third possession, at least one-third possession that's sudden death. But then when do you end it? At some point, it's got to end.
No,
that's the problem.
I don't mind that. I feel like they should at least get a full drive.
Just give them, just put it back to 15 minutes.
I think that's probably the best solution.
The whole reason it was shrunk from 15 to 10 minutes is because there was a Buccaneers-Raiders game 10, 12 years ago on a Sunday.
Rookie year, I believe.
That went the full 75 minutes or close to it.
Yep.
And the Bucs played on Thursday night. And they were flat, and they were tired, and the big talking point was, this is another reason why Thursday Night Football is no good, and the NFL was very sensitive about it then, and they were trying to get – and that river's been crossed. Thursday Night Football's here to stay. Nothing's going to change it, and if somebody plays on Thursday afternoon for 75 minutes and they have to play on Thursday night, deal with it. I mean, we've got to the point where that argument has ended because the NFL was sufficiently stubborn to get everybody to shut the hell up and move on.
That's right.
Because there are still issues with Thursday Night Football that we talk about all the time, but it's never going to get the NFL to stop doing it. There's too much money to be made, and they just don't care. So put the extra 5 minutes on for situations like what we saw last night.
Right.
Put the extra 5 minutes in and give that team that kicks off to start overtime a chance for a third drive.
Right.
Or, I mean, you got to go back to the analytics, and it's so funny. I talked to coaches about different things. Like I was talking to Coach on Friday about the late game stuff with the Cardinals and the Seahawks on Thursday night. And where do you do things differently if you're the Cardinals to try to engineer that victory? And they have formulas for everything. And this default that you kick off to start overtime, regular season, I don't like it. I don't like it with 10 minutes. And I think it should be 15. If we're going to let this logic play out where, okay, both teams score on the opening drive, the same number of points, let's at least have a shot for the other team to do what we used to see to start overtime.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. They're going to have to adjust that, but we're stuck with the way it is right now, and that's just the way it is. But game was exciting as hell, as we know.
Oh, it was incredible. It really was. It was, and the fact that the game overshadowed the Micah return shows you what a good game it was.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Dallas, of course, rose to the occasion on the offensive line there, and Micah's name was not said a lot. I mean, it didn't pop off the screen, at least to me. I know I'm watching on TV just like everybody else. But
the biggest play he made was saving the touchdown in overtime.
Yeah, that's right. Dallas has got to feel real happy about how they handled that, how their offense is playing right in that direction. The guy that has replaced Micah Parsons, Donovan Izarike from Boston College, he was drafted in the second round. He showed up a bunch last night. So those are all positives for the Dallas Cowboys.
There's the play there in overtime.
Which they got the sack. They gave him the sack, which I don't know if they should have there. That looked like he got back to the line of scrimmage, if not past it.
And he was thinking about flipping it. He was thinking about flipping it.
He was. The one thing we saw with Dallas last night, we know they could throw the football. Yes, even without CeeDee Lamb, the run game for the second week in a row is coming along, which that'll be dangerous. And that's Brian Schottenheimer's MO. He knows running the game. He knows running the ball. So that'll be interesting to watch as we go forward. The other thing I'm just going to throw out there before we kind of move on to the next game a little bit is Green Bay, running game not clicking on all cylinders like we saw last year. The tight end play is really good. We know Tucker Kraft is special. Looks like he's a superstar. I've said this to you before. Their wide receivers are good, but to me, not great. When they get Jaden Reed back and then they get Christian Watson back, who you mentioned before, to me, I think that is another thing, just like we're talking about with CeeDee Lamb's back with Dallas. It's going to take this offense, up another level here. I do. They have a bunch of good receivers right now, but we've sat here for this is 4 games in a row. We've got to get an eye on the Green Bay Packers. You don't see a ton of yards after catch. You don't see that from the wide receivers. It is usually Jordan Love throwing the ball downfield and the play design getting those guys open. To me, that's one little element they miss on their offense where I feel like Jaden Reed will bring that and Christian Watson when they're back.
Before we move on, here's a little from Micah from last night after the game, starting with his assessment of the performance of the Green Bay defense against Dallas.
Shit, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm pissed off. I'm very disappointed on just overall how we performed. I even told Jordan to the side, thank you for having our back today. That's why it's so pivotal that, you play complimentary football, because today Jordan played like the player he was, and we let him down. We didn't live up to the expectations on defense.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up 40 points. They didn't trade for Micah Parsons to give up 40 points.
No, they did not.
And this defense, and hey, they only gave up 13 last week, and hell, it shouldn't have come to that. They had a chance to have a shutout in that game against the Browns. So something's happened with the defense, and they need to get it back under control quickly. And they have a bye week coming up to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure things out.
This was the first game we saw the defense just go, well, how could this be? Is there not a better plan for George Pickens? I also think within that, the fact that...
Were they foolish enough to not realize how talented the guy is? I mean, because he is extremely talented.
No,
they never used him the right way in Pittsburgh. This is his moment. Did they just basically take the approach of, we're going to dare him to come out?
I think a little bit. It's not that. I just think at this point they've been pretty basic with him. They haven't featured him a whole lot to where they're probably looking at it going, wait, I don't know if we need to double him yet. They don't really know how to use him yet. And we saw they didn't know how to use him till the very end of the first half. And then all of a sudden that opened up Pandora's box, and George Pickens was in there. Right. Like, hey, I'm here. Watch out. But I think that going forward, you're going to see teams adjust to George Pickens, especially without CeeDee Lamb out of the lineup. But either way, Dak Prescott, way to go.
Looming in just 4 weeks, the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers back on
Dallas
Sunday
had
Night
the
Football.
advantage, too, in the Micah conversation of this offensive line is, unlike other offensive lines, is going, oh, no, Micah Parsons is coming to town. We don't know what to expect. I've never played him, or I don't see him much. And in this game last night, he's dealing with a bunch of guys that are not enamored by him. They're not in awe of him. They've been around him a whole lot. They've practiced against him. They know some of his tricks that he does when he pass rushes and all that. And that was advantage Cowboys on that forefront. But, that won't be the last we hear from Micah Parsons, that's for sure.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.